Well, welcome to Fanzone. Thank you, everybody who's joining us. Tom is already with us. How are you, Tom?
Good, thank you. How are you all?
Good. Tom, thanks for joining us. Sinky should be joining us as well shortly. I'm just going to check everybody's joining in. Okay, Tom, I'm going to drop you out just for 1 second and get some comments in. Welcome to tonight's Fanzone show. The season has finally finished. We should be streaming live on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, and on YouTube. Somebody is saying there's no sound. Let me know if you're getting no sound or not. Lee Marie Springthorpe is saying no sound. But you know what? I think you can hear us. Joanna's watching. Mark's watching. Richard Wilson is watching. Can you hear us? Neil is saying no sound as well. What is going on? Which is very strange. Have we got no sound? Nathan, if you're watching, I'm going to put it on screen. Can you hear us? Let's put that out there. I'm going to bring Tom in. Because, Tom, you can hear me, mate, can't you?
But we can have a chat if not, mate.
Alison is saying she has got sound.
Oh, that's all right then.
Well, give us a thumbs up if you can hear us. If you can't hear us, well, you can't hear us. Bev Orton is saying that she can hear us. So can Andy. Well, what a start to the show. We're going to talk football, but we've been talking about sound qualities. Okay, so that sounds like some people have just got to turn your phones up. That's what I'll say. Anyway, Tom, where do we start with yesterday's match? Leicester against Spurs. What a game that was. For the wrong reasons, maybe.
Look, for the end of the season, for all those fans who travelled down to Wembley yesterday, you got one hell of a spectacle. Let's put it that way. It was an end-to-end match, and I don't think I can remember in our history a 5-4 since I've been around. A long time it's been since one of those games. Disappointed, yeah, of course I am. 3-1 up away from home. You hope that you can see that kind of game out, but like we're saying, we come on air. I think I felt sorry for Purell in some ways because you had no defenders to come on and change it. You know, Simpson has to go off, and you have to put a 19-year-old defensive midfielder into the right back position. And sadly, he got exposed on numerous occasions because he isn't that, the type of player in that position. Against top quality players, you're always going to struggle when you're down to that kind of strength and depth, and it cost us in the end yesterday.
Right, I'm just going to go through a few fans' comments now. We know that people have got sound. Andy Moss says he and his son went yesterday and it was fantastic. Richard Wilson, I was just about to pop his comment up there. If you do get some comments, put them in there. Richard said that it could have gone either way, and I think he's quite right with that. Neil saying those that can't hear it, switch to YouTube. Sound on there. Yeah, well, there should be sound on Facebook. There should be sound on Periscope. There should be sound all over the place. You can hear our dull tones. Get your comments in. We will pull them up on there. Lee Clark says only City can go away to Arsenal and Spurs, score 3 and 4 and not win, which I think is an interesting one. Good evening to Mick. How are you? Good to have you tuned in and watching. We're going to be talking lots of things here. Tom, let's bring you back in. Before we get too much into yesterday's match, and I don't want to be a Puel poo-poo stirrer. I've got to watch what I say there. I don't want to be a stirrer, but we've ran polls after the West Ham game. We ran a poll, Puel in, Puel out, and 90% of Leicester fans said Puel out. We ran it again after that fantastic, albeit victory against 10 men against Arsenal, and it was swinging back to sort of like 80-20. Just run one again now on Facebook and one on Twitter, and it's getting much more sort of 70-30, 65-35. Has he maybe done enough, Tom, over the last couple of games? What's the game plan? Has Puel done enough, Tom, to keep his job?
For me, yes, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. And there's a lot of people who are he's not good enough, he ain't going to take us forward, the players aren't with him. Well, the last two performances didn't look like a team who were fighting against him to play like that. So I think that theory goes out the window that the players aren't playing from him. I feel sorry for him because it's quite funny watching Twitter yesterday that we go 3-1 up and oh, we're amazing and everything like that. But there's no credit to Pure for the way that we actually broke teams down and attacked from the front and everything like that. Won the ball back to get the 3-goal lead. As soon as we were 4-3 down, it's Pure's fault for all those goals that went in. I think the team has to take. I saw a bit in the paper today, and someone the team has to take responsibility for that. I agree. I think the team has to take responsibility more for some of the sloppy goals we're conceding. You can't blame Pure when the players on the pitch are making mistakes. Simple as that. So I think you've got to give him a chance. From what I've seen out the last 2 games, I think he's had a chat with the players. I think the players had a chat with him. The Arsenal game was very much a bit of his tactics, but a bit of the old tactics in there with him. So we tried to play the football, but when we couldn't, we looked for that quick ball over the top for Vardy. Same again yesterday, or the through ball for Vardy. If you look at yesterday, there's a lot more balls on the floor through the defence, what we were trying to get onto. Vardy scored on one of those occasions yesterday. So you can see what he's trying to do, and I think he's probably taken a step back, spoke to the players, and I think he has spoke to the players because they seemed a lot more knowing what they were supposed to be doing out there than they did against Palace and again against West Ham.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting one. I believe we've got somebody joining us on video link. I'm going to bring them in very shortly. If anybody does want to come in and chat, I have shared the link that brings you into the bit of software. You can do it via your phone, you can do it via your laptop, you can do it via tablet. Don's joining us. Don, another big 100% LCFC favourite, but anybody who wants to come in can come in. So just because Tom and Don have, doesn't mean that you guys can't. We'd welcome as many fans on as possible. I just read, by the way, somebody says we've put a bid in for Shaqiri, which is interesting. Obviously, no transfers till next week, but Shaqiri would be one that I think we would have our eye on. Don, anyway, give us your... How are you, Don? Can you hear us?
Yeah, how you doing, guys?
Good, Don. What was your... let's start with the Puel discussion. We're saying the fans seem to be swinging slightly back towards Puel. Well, still more saying Puel out than Puel in. But, Don, what's your take on it?
Well, I guess what I really want to do is ask you guys a question. Why have the tactics changed? What's in the last 2 matches, we've had a complete tactics change. Is it because of injury? Is it because Puel looked at what players he had and actually changed what he was doing? Or is it the players said, we're not going to play this way anymore and play a different way? So I can't answer that question until that's answered, because if he's going to go back to 60% possession and just kick the ball around behind the half line and not let us give scoring chances, then no, I don't want him to be the manager. But if we're going to play the way we've played the last 2 matches, then I have no problem with him saying and giving a transfer window.
Tom, do you want to react to that?
I think we were just saying about it. I think for me that the players have sat down and spoken to Puel, or they've had a discussion as a group and said, we've got to change the way we're playing or what we're doing, because I don't see why we'd change so dramatically in the last 2 games without someone saying something or the manager realising that maybe he has got to go back to a bit more of the counter-attacking football and pressing from the front, what was so successful at this club in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think, Don, I don't know if you can hear us, Don, but we seem to have lost your connection. I've got a few people putting in the comments, Don, we've lost your video stream, so if you want to log back out and log back in, that'd be great. Yeah, if you want to come into the video, got lots of people saying they want to come in. I've put the link in there. You just have to click on the link and come in. That would be great. A few comments. I'm going to bring Don back in. Well done, Don. Just going to bring in a few more comments from the fans. Want to make sure we get loads of fans' views in here. Scott Bentley saying the biggest proof of Puel not being the right man is that players like Gray and Chilwell have had the chance to come in and play, but their progression has gone backwards and their confidence looks rocked because of it. Jason Mills saying, I think Puel has finally stopped being so stubborn and playing to the players' strengths. Richard Court saying need to sort the defence out. I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? And Anthony Lowe has just said Don has said it. Ali, I'm afraid. Ali says, can he have audio only? I don't want to show my face. I can't do that, Ali. I'm afraid. I don't think so. You can always pop a bag on your head if it's that bad. I'm not being offensive, Ali. I'm not being offensive, Ali. Was that bad?
You can't say that, man.
Can I not say that? Ali chats a lot on there, and I appreciate it. I'd like to get Ali on. But you think
Ali,
of Ali, no
Ali,
offence,
put the
mate.
camera on and face it the other way round.
There you go. Ali, if you want to come on and talk, but with no video, you do exactly what Tom's just said. Ignore my put a bag on it comment. No offence meant, obviously. A lot of players, Tom, let's start with you. While Don goes on a walk around, a lot of players are going to come and go this summer, perhaps more than there has been for a long time. Let's start with Mahrez. Tom, do you think he's going to go?
I think his time is up for Leicester City. You know, you can't thank the player for more than he's done for the football club, and he's been brilliant. 10 goals, 10 assists this season again. But I think in some ways it's good for both parties now. I think he wants to move on. We're probably going to need some money to re-strengthen the squad in the summer, even though we'll get 24, 25 million for finishing ninth. So...
I'm apologising to Ali because I didn't mean it offensively. It just came out. Don's gone and put something on his face. It's gone to pot, you see. It's the end of the season. We're already losing the plot. Go on, Tom, carry on.
So, yeah, I can see Mahrez going, you know, for both parties it works out. If we get the 70 million, you know, I think we'll be quite happy with that now. And then you look at re-strengthening the squad. You're going to lose other players who are going to go end of contracts, going back on, you know, loan deals are expiring. Dragovic, if we can get him, bring him in. You know, I think we all seen Dragovic looks a hell of a signing. Oh, Phil, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, well, I was going to put a bag on my head, but that's actually going to encourage... I'll get told off. I was going to put a bag on my head and thought I'll get told off because somebody will say that that's no good for kids either. Let's stick to the football, shall we, Tom?
So, yeah, you know, if you look at that defence from yesterday, you're probably looking at one player out of the four who probably will be a starter next year. And that says a lot about where we're at as a club and that we've got to make those changes, you know. You're probably looking at a new right back or someone to give Simpson some competitive go over, because at the moment he hasn't got anyone to give him a go over. He gets in every week, and don't get me wrong, he's Mr. Consistent and he does a great job for us. Morgan, I think we all know he's at the end of his tether and his legs aren't there. He's got a brain on him still, but he can't get around the park quick enough. Maguire starts every game. We know what he can do. And then it's Fuchs or Chilwell, I think, at left back. And behind either of them aren't a bad option. Chilwell's still got a lot to learn. So Fuchs has got one more year with us. So you probably don't consider it. But I think you're still looking at three players in that defence to come in at least. One of them, for me, has to be Dragovic.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think let's. I'm just going to put it in the comments. Dragovic must. Let me just type it in. Must sign him. I think most fans would agree with you on that, Tom. That we must sign Dragovic. Don, what was your take on yesterday's game?
I did a little live afterwards and talked to people, and the biggest thing that everyone said was just about Morgan and how he looked and how he played. And it's unfortunate because Captain Morgan is one of my favorites. He was so good to the club for a long time and did so well. But I think since his injury, he's lost the step, and it's starting to show, and it's really starting, I think, to become a detriment to the defense. And I think it's what's causing a lot of the problems.
Yeah, again, I hear that Danny Simpson was nowhere near fully fit yesterday, Tom. And again, it was a bit of a dreadful mess. Even in the first goal he gave away to Harry Kane, wasn't it? I don't know what he was trying there.
I mean, if you look at three of the goals, I mean, Simpson gives the ball away, Kane goes through. Does Schmeichel save it in goal? You don't know. He probably gets something to it because it was at the near post. I always think a goal should always protect his near post and get something on it. The goal, what goes in off Fuchs, it's flying wide. It's going to the corner flag. Just unlucky, Fuchs and flies into the net. And then schoolboy from Gray for me. I don't care how young a player is. For me, you do not chest the ball down facing your own goal going into your own penalty area. Kick it for a corner. Set game management for me there. Kick it for the corner and set yourself up as a team defensively, ready to take that corner on and defend it better. you got a very, very high risk of when you're trying to do that kind of manoeuvre, chest it down, it's going to run away from you, where the way the ball was flying. So it was silly by Gray for that. And, that's probably where the point is Gray doesn't learn. He's made quite a few defensive errors when he's done that kind of stuff or tried a trick, and we conceded goals from it. I didn't think Gray had a bad game yesterday up to that point. He probably should have made it 3-1 in the first half when their goalkeeper made a fine save. But for me, 5 yards out, he should have scored. You've got to put it low past the keeper, not high. Game, 3-1 at half time, 4-1 if Vinacho comes out and scores and they don't score again. Different ball game. But it was game of fine margins for me yesterday, and it cost us in the end because Inacho had another chance to make it 5-5 and hits it straight at the goalkeeper. So we were unlucky yesterday, let's put it that way.
Yeah, you think unlucky? I mean, it sort of sums up our season, doesn't it, a bit yesterday? To go 3-1 up at one stage, looking good. The bit of the Vardy and Mahrez show again, wasn't it, Tom? I think Mahrez, I think I'm right, a little stat I heard was that Mahrez is the only player in the Premier League to get over into double figures assists and goals for the past 2 seasons. The goals and assists that he's weighed in with Jamie Vardy, I guess we're fearing that Mahrez might go. But there is fear that, Jamie Vardy's the 4th highest Premier League scorer. Man City have got 2 in there, Tom. Harry Kane, obviously, for Spurs. There's some big clubs out there in the Premier League alone who would fancy a 20-plus Premier League goal scorer, wouldn't they? I'm saying Man United and Arsenal.
I think you're right in some ways, but also I think the only thing against Vardy now is his age. And people are looking at Vardy, he's 31 this year, is he? Coming up to, 20... Don't get me wrong, he didn't start playing until his later years, so he's always got that on his side that he's not, running his legs into the ground at 31, like we've seen with Michael Owen, all these quick strikers, his hamstrings are gone by that age. But I don't know, I just don't see anyone taking that punt. Also, I don't see the club selling him. I really don't see the owners selling their prize asset, their prize goal scorer. You'd be mad to sell 2 players like that, sell Vardy and Mahrez. I don't think the club will go down that route. I think Mahrez will go and they'll take the 70 million. And I think even if someone came in with a 40 million offer for Vardy, unless he wanted to go to wherever it was, I don't see why the owners would sell him, because you've got to replace 30 goals then in that team, and that would be very, very difficult in this league to go and get 2 players who are going to score you 30 goals.
Yeah, my trouble is I totally hear what you're saying. It'd be interesting to see what the fans think. Would a big club potentially come in for Vardy? Could that happen? I'll tell you why, Tom. Teams like Man United have got a big record of going for these slightly aging but well-proven strikers. You only have to go back to Ibrahimovic, over the last 18 months. I don't think Mourinho's a mug, and I think he knows, sometimes the thing with Mourinho is, and Man United, and this is where Puel might come a cropper for Leicester, is Mourinho knows that he needs instant results. He's not trying to build a team for 18 months at Man United. He's trying to build a team for now, isn't he? And my big fear with do you keep Puel in or not keep Puel in, is whatever fixtures are the first 2 or 3 in next season, if Leicester have a bad first game even, the Puel out brigade are going to be instantly at him, aren't they, Tom?
Yeah, of course they are. And I think the pressure is going to be on him from the start, whatever happens next year. Even if we get a couple of wins followed by a couple of defeats, he's always going to have that pressure on him because of the way the end of this season went. From pushing for 7 to fading out and finishing 9th, he's always going to have that pressure of next season that he's never going to be good enough. The only benefit, in my view, this season going into next season is that once the season starts, there's no transfer window. It shuts before the season starts. So the benefit, even Vardy starts off with a flyer, we know he's not going anywhere because the window's already shut.
Okay, now we've got Ali. Hopefully, Ali, you are with us. Can you hear us, Ali?
Hello, Phil. It's a great honour to talk to you.
Ali, it's great to have you on. I meant you no offence when I said if you didn't want to come on.
No, it's all right.
You know that, mate.
I've actually covered my camera. I'm just a bit camera shy, Phil. I hope you don't mind.
No, absolutely. You can come on here and chat. Myself, Tom, Don will react. What did you think, Ali?
Yeah.
What do you want to come on?
Izzy all the way. Izzy Muzzy, what a player.
Did you? I know you're a big fan of Muzzy, aren't you?
Yeah. He's one of my favourite Leicester City players of all time, mate.
But I know you
up there.
Yes.
You sometimes shout that he could be Leicester manager, don't you, Ali?
Look, as Arsenal fans, as Wenger's left, they shouted Vieira, Arteta, the former. That's the reason why I said it. I said because he knows the club, he understands what the fans want.
Yeah, I had a few fans saying if Puel went, then maybe Neil Lennon could come in. Obviously, had some experience. What would you think to Neil Lennon, Ali? Can you hear us, Ali?
Yeah, I just lost George for a bit there, mate.
What would you think, Ali, to somebody like Neil Lennon then coming in if you're having a shout for an old player to come in?
Well, maybe Neil Lennon. But the interesting thing is, Ranieri's been released by Nantes, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
Ranieri back to Leicester, who knows?
I'm going to ask Don, have you heard that, Don or Tom, that Ranieri has gone?
Yeah, he had a problem with the management, and he basically dared them to get rid of him because they gave him basically nothing, and he kept him up in the top 10. And I mean, he basically told the French press, like, there's no reason to let me go. They gave me nothing and gave our best players away, and it still kept us in the top 10. And they did. They released him.
Tom, I don't think Ranieri would come back to Leicester, would he, anyway?
No, I think that's boat has sailed for that part. He did a great job for us, but I don't see the owners bringing him back in now. And I don't think he'd want to come back. If I'm honest with you, I think he got a legacy at the football club, and it ended on a bit of disappointment. So I don't see him coming back to try and reignite the whole thing now. And I think the owners will back Puel. I really do. If they were going to sack him, they had 2 opportunities against Crystal Palace and West Ham to sack him. After 2 very poor performances, they haven't sacked him. What means for me, I think he's got the backing of the chairman to get this pre-season and a summer transfer window and build.
Okay, Ali, I'm going to ask you, are you Puel in or Puel out?
I'm going.
Say that again, Ali. Ali, can you hear me? I think we've lost Ali, so I'm going to drop Ali back out of the conversation, but got somebody else joining in, which is Chris. Let's just add Chris into the conversation. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hi. Very well, thank you.
Let's start with the big question. Are you Puel in or Puel out?
Puel out, Pochettino in.
Pochettino in?
Yeah.
What makes you say that then, Chris?
Well, I just think basically, if we are supposedly we're going to be spending a lot of money on a new manager potentially, from what I've heard anyway. So I think what better person to do than Pochettino if he really is having problems with the backstage crew at Spurs?
I mean, I haven't heard too much about a Pochettino leaving Spurs, Don. Have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard anything about him leaving there, but you never know. I mean, their thing is they don't have a trophy, so. I mean, and they have quality players. If we're going to
get into Champions League again, he'd be the person to take us.
I mean, Tom, I'm going to come to you, Tom, on this. I've got a couple of mates who are Spurs fans, and again, they were putting on there that they've another cracking season for Spurs, and I went, well, if I'm honest, I'd still rather be a Leicester fan because you've just qualified for. I say just, but I would much rather have had that Premier League win 2 years ago than have another trophyless season, Tom.
Of course, we've lived the dream that many fans up and down the country wanted to live, and we've won a Premier League. What doesn't happen to many clubs. As for Pochettino, if he's going to leave Spurs, he ain't coming to Leicester. He'll end up at Madrid, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund. He'll go to a big club, and that's not against Leicester, but we're nowhere near the bracket of what he's looking at if he's going to progress. He's not going backwards, but it's not going anywhere for him for me.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, Chris. I think that's an amazing shout, but I'm amazed at the shout. Does that make sense, Chris? I just can't see it happening.
No, yeah. But to be fair, I mean, when we got Ranieri, that was an amazing shout. No, I don't think anybody expected that, and so I honestly think potentially we could get another big name. He was, that was a big name. It was a big shock, and it was one that really pulled up for us because we then won the league. So, I'm thinking if we pull in another big name like that, we could be in with a shout again.
I just think, I mean, people say, Lee Clark's I put it on screen saying that more chance of Pochettino going to Madrid if Zidane's sacked at the end of the season. I'd be amazed if Zidane's sacked if he was to go on and win another Champions League, to be honest with you, Lee. But I think Pochettino's going in the upwards direction in his career. You know, he's probably doing pretty good at Spurs.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, Don?
Just a quick question. We've talked a lot about peel in or peel out, but don't you think we really need to look at higher up in the club and some things that need to be done in the front office more than trading managers every couple of months, every couple of windows? I mean, we've had all the problems with the players being loaned. We've had all the problems with the transfer window with Silva, the Mahrez saga. We don't have a very good history of not only transfer windows, but bringing in the managers we need, bringing in the players we need. Do we need to start looking more at the front office? Peel could be the quality manager, and given the right window and the right people, he could do something with it. But is the front office going to allow him to do it?
Okay, well, I'm going to offer that out to fans, and I'll come to Tom and then Chris and ask them the question. There's a lot of talk. Is it the management higher up than just the current guy who happens to manage the team? So fans, put your views in there, put your comments in there. Do you think it is a higher issue than just who's running the team? My question, slightly to add to that, and I'll come to Tom first, is I still got the feeling that it's player power running a lot of Leicester City, if I'm honest. Tom, let's come to you first on that.
There's a few points that if you look at it this way, you're talking about John Rudkin at the start. Let's get the name out there. Let's not hide behind the mask. We all know what a lot of fans are against John Rudkin. But I'm one of them who don't really understand his role at the football club in some ways.
Well, I believe he's the guy who goes and signs the players, isn't he, Tom? He's not the scouting network as such. No. We have a scouting network, which is perhaps 50 to 100 people all around the world.
And then he's literally doing the finer details. So you can't blame sometimes Rudkin for all of this. We all would love to know whose fault it was for the Silva saga, because that was something that made a big mistake at the football club and, costed the players for 6 months. If you look at it with all the players who went out alone, once again, that's probably down to the manager for me. He sent out the players he didn't want in the squad.
Yeah.
He didn't want King. He didn't want Slimani. He didn't want Leonardo. Yes, we probably should be better off by looking at bring back clause and stuff like that when we were short. But again, I think that's down to the manager. Didn't see them fitting into the style of play that he plays at the moment. And I don't think you can blame the hierarchy for that. If the manager doesn't want them in the squad and he wants to get them out first team football, fair play to Andy King. He needed first team football. His days are numbered at Leicester, sadly. He's been a legend, but I can't see him being in here beginning of next season. And I think he'll probably be maybe a team that come up. Maybe a Brighton might take a gamble on him in the Premier League. Or he'll be a team in the top half of the Championship next year. Maybe Swansea will take that gamble and come and buy him.
Okay, I'm going to come to you next, Chris. My take on recalling players, I think I'm right in saying, somebody's told me that in the Premier League, once you loan them out, there is no recall. That's just how it works, which if that is the truth, which I don't know it is, but if it was, I would say, well, don't loan them out then unless you blooming well have to. Chris, let's come to you. What are your views on, is it something going on higher up?
No, I'm team player power. I really am, because I think, I hate saying this because I've been supporting them for a long time, but I think sometimes our players don't play for the manager. I really do. I think that, and I think sort of pure example of that, in my opinion, was when we lost 5-0 to Crystal Palace. That I saw as the team not playing for the manager. It was like the buzzards were circling, and so it was a kind of let's help it kind of way. So I hate saying that because I've been a massive fan for many years, but I honestly believe there's player power there.
Yeah, I've got a feeling, Don. We're going to wrap things up soon. We're obviously here at 100% LCFC. We're going to keep going throughout the summer. There's always loads of transfer rumours, loads of speculation. I believe the transfer window opens, I think it's a week on Thursday, but I need to check that one. Before we get to that, Don, just try. Obviously, next week's show we're going to really reflect on the whole season. If I'm honest, just try to briefly reflect on yesterday's game, Don first, and a ninth finished. Are you pleased with that?
I think yesterday is a microcosm of our season. We played really well. We did really well. It's the same thing with our season. We played well. We did really well, but we had so many missed opportunities, and we could have done so much better. So I really think yesterday's match was really a true microcosm of what our entire season's been. I enjoyed the match yesterday. I thought we played well. I thought we made some mistakes and we missed some opportunities. And I really do think that sums up our season.
Yeah, I think you got a good point there, Tom. Let's have a reflection from you.
I think, look, like I said, it's another typical Leicester City roller coaster and ride seasons. The highs, the lows, from Craig Shakespeare starting as manager to finishing it with Claude Puel. We started off with a 4-3 defeat at Arsenal when we probably should have won that game, and we finished it with a 5-4 loss at Tottenham. In general, I would have taken a 9-play finish and 2 good cup runs at the beginning of the season, because I think I looked to the squad and went, I don't see where we strengthened enough to move forward as a club again. We didn't bring enough quality in there to help Vardy with the goal-scoring opportunities. I think we all had questions at the beginning who was going to get the goals at the beginning of the season, because we hadn't really had that much confidence in Leonardo. Again, Slimani, Okazaki gets his fair share but doesn't get enough goals. So the weight was always on Vardy for this season to produce the magic. What he's done again, 20 goals, you can't fault him. But it was always going to be a hard season for me. I felt that it's a transitional period again from, and especially now, we've got an aging squad. I proved it yesterday with the amount of injuries we had, and it's going to be a busy transfer window for us to rebuild a squad that has aged a lot in the last couple of years.
Okay, I'm going to come to you, Chris, shortly, and I've got Jason Mills waiting in the wings right at the end of the show, going to come in as well. Chris, just briefly, as quickly as you can, quick summary of yesterday's game and finishing ninth.
Well, yesterday's game was a typical thing for me, because I'm thinking we're great up front, terrible at the back. We've got Vardy, and he's absolutely brilliant. We've got Iheanacho, fantastic. We don't need any more forwards, in my opinion. We need better defenders. We need more strength at the back. As for the season in ninth, I'll take that any day of the week. A top half finish is always a great result for Leicester.
Thanks, Chris. I'm going to drop you out now. Join us again. Thanks. Really appreciate you coming on, Chris. So that's been brilliant having him on. I'm just going to bring Jason in as well. Jason has often commented on these videos. And Jason, first time on the show, which is brilliant, like Chris. How are you?
Evening, guys. How are we?
Brilliant and brilliant. I really appreciate you and Chris and Ali all coming on tonight, because me and Dom and Tom, we do this all the time, but we want more and more fans on it. So, Jason, what are your brief views of yesterday's game and ninth finish?
Yesterday's game, I think we just got lucky that Tottenham were as bad defensively as what we were yesterday. Again, if you've got to score 4 goals away from home, you've got to be looking at winning the game no matter who you're playing. Again, it was a big occasion because it was the last game of the season at Wembley. Did that get to some of the players? I don't know. As finishing ninth, I've said many a time, don't let finishing ninth fool you into believe that we've done well to finish there, because as I've said many times before, the league below us has been probably just as bad as we've been over the last 20 games.
So, are you pleased with the season, Jason?
I'm still glass half empty.
Are you? You're glass half empty.
I still don't think, I've said it many times again before, that I don't think that Claude Puel is the man that's going to take us to where the ambitions of the owners are. The owners have got serious ambitions for the club, and I personally don't feel that Claude Puel was the man to take the club to where the owners want the club to be.
My fear, and I'll say this out to you, is that, like I've said earlier in this video, is if we have a tough start or we don't win the first 2 or 3 games, I think that the knives will be sharpened very, very, very quickly next season by all the fans. And that's my worry for him, is that we're going to have all summer building, chopping and changing players, and then all of a sudden, maybe 45 minutes into the first game and we're losing. It could be as quick as that.
if I'm wrong about all I've said about Puel, and he turns it around the start of next season, I'll grab one of those bags that you mentioned earlier on.
I'm not going to live that one down, am I? Anyway, Jason, I really, really appreciate you coming on. Will you come on again for us?
Yeah, I found out how to use it. It's an app on the phone I have to log into now, so I know how to do it.
It's not too hard.
It'd be great to come on again, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Jason. Join us next week.
Cheers, Jason.
And Don, all the way from Myrtle Beach in the States, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. Thanks for having me. Hey, Tom, you brought up one point I wanted to say to you guys, Phil, real quick. Don't forget about the cup runs when you talk about Puel in or out.
Yeah, well, that makes me more Puel out, so.
But thanks for having me, guys. And, as always, great show. And we'll see you Thursday night.
Yeah, obviously, Don and Dipak do a late night edition, Fanzone, on Thursdays at about, what time, Don? 10 o'clock?
About 10 o'clock, yep.
About 10 o'clock. Depends how many beers you've had by what time it starts.
That's usually about right, yeah.
It is. Thanks, Don. Everybody tune in to Don on a Thursday. We'll see you soon, Don.
All right, guys. Thanks. See you later.
And Tom, it's just left with me and you then. He's
what do you say, mate?
Well, he's just wound me up because he just reminded me of what we should have done in the quarterfinals of both cups, Tom. That's my season. My summary of this season is what if? What if we'd put out a full team against Man City? What if, with 15 minutes to go when it was 1-1 against Chelsea, we'd have actually gone for it? What if we hadn't lost to Stoke or had those terrible runs against Stoke, Newcastle, Bournemouth? What if?
I think what if is probably a good way to finish for the night tonight. I mean, like I say, the what if we're beating Stoke, Bournemouth, and Swansea instead of drawing those 3 games. What if we didn't go to Burnley away and go 2-0 down, but had 8-9 of the best chances and being the better team again? I think the season is probably a bit about what ifs, but I think now it's about reflecting on that. Appreciate we've got what we've had in Mahrez in the past 5 seasons since he came to the club, from his first goal in Nottingham Forest away to his last goal at Tottenham at the weekend, and how much we appreciate him for what he's done. Appreciating what Vardy's done for this football club, and hopefully the more to come from him over the next couple of years. And I think the season, like I say, it's ifs and buts, but I don't think it's been a bad season. It would have been nice to go back into Europe, but in some ways, I don't think the squad is ready enough to go into Europe and start playing in July with all the players we'd be missing for a World Cup year.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for joining us so much again.
Cheers, guys.
We'll see you soon, and that leaves me to run through a few of your comments right at the end. If you can like and share the video, that would be absolutely brilliant. I'm going to pull up a few of your final comments. Dara is saying, what could have been? I think that sums it up. Steve Marty says, see you. We're not quite gone yet, Steve, but see you soon. Jason says, cheers. Ruth, a lot of people still saying, go and get Rafa. Who knows? Strange things have happened in football. Mick Paget is saying, I wouldn't trust Puel to spend £1. Luke is saying, we'll struggle in the first 8 matches, then we'll get cut adrift. And Anthony Lowe is saying, Phil, that's why he should go now. And I think, Anthony, you're referring to when I'm saying after a few comments that, maybe he should go. I don't know. Anyway, Andy says, would you trust Puel with your 100 million? I don't know. I just don't know at the moment. I think I'm on the fence. I'm not sure if I'm quite Puel in, Puel out. I'm sort of trusting the owners, I think. They've done us proud so far. They've not always got it right, but like you have to in a business, sometimes you get things wrong. Sometimes you have to change things. Sometimes you have to stick. Sometimes you have to twist. Let's trust in them. They've took us from the Championship into the Premier League, right up to the Premier League title. If there's one set of people I am going to put my faith in, it's the club owners. Not always getting it right, but generally getting it right and 100% putting their effort into our football club. So thanks to the chairman for a season. Top 10? Well, we've had lots of seasons where we're not even in the Premier League. So top 10 in the Premier League, I think you have to reflect and say pretty good. Anyway, next Monday, we're back with the Fan Zone. We'll be looking forward to transfers, looking back over the whole season. Thursday night is Don and Dipak having a few beers and doing a late night show. Jamie from the Fox's Arms in Alcudia get over there, have a beer with him. But he's 9:30 BST every Sunday morning. So like and share this video. See you all soon. Thanks for keeping it 100% LCFC for the whole of this season. Cheers.